never going to live that down, right?
Oh, never.
When the power goes out, it can disrupt your life in many ways, but have you ever thought about what happens to your electronics? Are they safe?
Thor Schrock is back to compute this.
So, good to see you, Thor.
Good to see you guys. Did you guys have power all weekend?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, I did.
I was in Sioux Falls.
Oh, gotcha. So you did too?
Yes, I had power.
So she did, yeah.
I went through a little bit of really hardcore rain after I passed Sioux City on Friday, but that was about it.
Yeah,
so.
we were driving up from Kansas City when the storm hit Papillion and then was coming past it and went right across 29. We drove over some nice high tension lines. They make the most awful sound when you drive over live high tension lines.
Scary.
It's like driving over guitar strings.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Well, that's scary. Well, so you had it coming back up 29. And then when you got home, you had
no
bit
power.
of damage, no
2
power.
days, no power.
2 days.
Yeah.
Super heads up, thank you to all the OPPD crews and the police departments that are out there directing traffic for days and days and days on end and working 24-hour shifts.
Yeah,
they got the power back on yesterday, so that was awesome.
Putting overtime in.
I think there's jumper cables on the telephone pole, literally. Like, no joke, I think there are.
Oh,
but
wow.
they got the power up.
They got it.
Well, that's good. But these power interruptions, though, how does it really affect electronics? Because we've got all of our electronics. We spend so much money on this electronics. Oh, yeah. We connect it to the power grid, and then what happens?
Yeah, my son asked a fundamental question yesterday. He said, "Dad, how can power be dirty? You know, dirty power. How can it be dirty?" And one of the things is, I mentioned they got our power back on, but it's not real clean right now. It's like, it's a patch job here, patch job there. Literally, they have wires like with connecting other wires across the poles and stuff, and it's bad. But the power's on, so we're not complaining. But if you go into our kitchen and you listen, any kind of major appliance, like if you have a pump, like a swimming pool pump, or if like a stove, that you'll hear it hum. Anything with an iron core in it will hum when there's dirty power. And it's like you go into my kitchen and you can just hear, just the stove is humming because the power is dirty right now. And that dirty power, when it hits your electronics are designed for nice, perfect, clean power. And there's always a variance, right, in power. So every year that variance gets a little smaller that they allow for, and a little smaller and a little more precise, because they can make everything a little smaller and thinner and cheaper. And then eventually you end up with really sensitive electronic devices like tablets and phones and TVs and Xboxes and computers and things that dirty power can really, really cause problems. So like if you ever had a breaker pop in your house, and then you go to flip the breaker back and everything gets power on, you just created like an epic surge. So as the power has been trying to be restored to all these places, the power goes up, the power goes down, the power goes up, the power goes down, and it's just beating the tar out of your electronics and your surge protectors and things like that. So it's really important to keep an eye on your electronics during this kind of stuff. If you have if your power is still out, I'd recommend like unplugging the computers and stuff. Just leave them unplugged so that when the power comes back on, they don't get punched with that first surge of really filthy, dirty power.
So back to surge protectors, are those not enough then to keep your computer safe?
They can. They will. They'll protect you from surges. They don't condition the power. If you get one of those big battery backups, a lot of times those will have a power conditioning unit in it, and that's why they hum so nasty. They absorb all that dirty power and norm it out. But your surge protectors actually, they're a disposable item. So when they get hit, they burn up a little bit of themselves to protect your equipment. And eventually what happens is they can't protect you at all anymore.
They burn up everything inside.
Yeah,
but
so
they still work. You can still get power out of them.
You can still use them for Christmas lights. Glorified extension cord is all it is now.
Right.
But the thing is, people think they're still protecting and they're not. So if you had that giant oak desk you bought at the Mart like 20 years ago and it had that surge protector on the side, it was good for like a week. And now it's bad.
Right.
So you want to plug that into another, because you're not going to move the desk. That's too heavy. So you're going to plug that into another surge protector, put that in the wall or something to keep everything protected. So it's important if you have one of our surge protectors, that they actually chirp when they're bad. So as long as your Schrock ones aren't chirping, you're good to go.
That's nice.
If they are chirping, that's why I told you to buy 2.
You need to have an extra one on hand. What are some of the problems that you can have on your computers, though, after maybe a surge or your power goes out and it comes back on?
Yeah, we put in orders this morning for power supplies. That's the big one. The power supply is the unit in the back of your computer that your power cord goes into, and it supplies power to everything in the computer. The thing is, when we think our stuff is off, nothing has a physical switch anymore. Back in my day, we flipped a switch and you could feel it flip, click, like the light switch on the wall. It's a physical switch.
It would cut power to the device.
Yeah, it actually severs the power connection. Yeah. Well, now everything is a soft button. So like on your phone, there's no, like, you might feel a click, but they put the click there just to make you feel better. When you push the home button on your phone and it goes click, click, that's just to make you feel better. That's why now with the iPhones, you press on it and it'll actually buzz to make you feel better, because there's supposed to be some tactile response from pressing a button. But now on like your computer, when you hit the power button, it's a soft button, which means the computer always has power even when it's off. So those surge protectors get damaged, also hard drives. I've seen a big increase in the number of hard drives failing this week, over the weekend.
So what about preventative maintenance? How can that help?
Well, it can help because you want to eliminate the weak links before they're damaged, right? Because if you have something that's on the edge of failing, and then all of a sudden you get hit with a big power surge or a power outage or something like that, that can cause it to push it over the edge and fail. Preventative maintenance, though, is good to keep everything running smoothly and efficiently, but after you have a big event like this, preventative maintenance doesn't protect you from a power supply blowing up. It doesn't stop your hard drive from dying. It just lets you know if you're having problems or you might have problems in the future that we can get them taken care of ahead of time. My generator broke over the weekend. I took it to Small Engine Repair in Ralston, got it fixed up. They did a great job, got it in the same day back to me. And he's like, well, what's in here? Do you want me to do preventative maintenance? He listens to the radio show, and I'm like, yeah, go ahead and do it. I believe in what I preach. Yeah, do it. So he did, and that thing runs so much smoother now, and the power coming off it is cleaner. So preventative maintenance can do a lot of good things, not just for computer equipment, but for all kinds of equipment. But the preventative maintenance is super critical after you have an event like this to make sure everything is okay, because if you have something that's failing, it may take a long time to become a serious failure, and you don't want to end up in the data recovery lab or something like that. You want to catch it when it's early and inexpensive to fix.
Well, surge protectors, an important item. It's a good reminder with the power outages we're having right now. You need to get your surge protectors, make sure they're working. You guys carry those. You got another shipment coming in?
Yeah, we do have one coming in. How
much are they? How much are
they're about $60 a piece for a good one.
And that sounds expensive, but it really protects all your,
it's worth it.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can get a cheapo one for $10 at Walmart, but it's the number of joules. Look at the number of joules. 800 joules isn't enough to do anything.
Yes.
Okay. Well,
more joules is better. Ask your wife.
Schrock Innovations, 3 locations. You got one at Village Point, Papillion, and then of course the service center in Lincoln as well. Thanks for coming in, Thor.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.